Hello, today we're talking about S3 buckets. Think of them as virtual storage bins in the cloud where you can store all sorts of stuff like files, images, and data. Learning how to create and manage them is super important if you're working with AWS, so let's dive in and explore the basics.
Hello everyone and welcome back to our YouTube lecture series on machine learning based web application using AWS SageMaker and other related tools. Okay, so in previous lecture we have seen that we can create XGBoost model and we can examine in our local environment using a Jupyter Notebook. Okay, and that model was working very well. Now the purpose of this course is to utilize AWS SageMaker. So from now onward, what we are going to do, we are going to use AWS console. As I told that we have to create account. So I assume by default that all of you has account. If you do have account, you can just put your username, or whether it may be root user or am user. It is always good to do all that practice using this am user. Okay, so I'll put my credential and I'll start teaching that what will be next step. Okay, so after putting your login credential, you'll reach in this console. So if something else appear, you can just put here, so that there are different options and you can just directly reach in this console. And then you need to utilize different services provided by AWS. So first thing what we are going to use, we are going to use S3 bucket for the data storage. If by chance if you have utilized this S3 in your previous project, or if you're practicing, you might see that recently visited services here in this, but not in that case. You can just type here and you can see here, you can directly go from there. Okay, because I utilize, I can just click it. Okay, and what you can do, this is Amazon S3 portal. Okay, now what we need to do, we need to create a bucket. Okay, so let us understand what is the meaning of bucket. Okay, so we all use our local computer and we make different folder to store our file. AWS is a cloud service, so that means this is not our local computer, but if we want to save something in our cloud, there should be some provision. So S3 buckets can be considered. Consider is a not very good term. We can say it is very similar to file folders, and we can store our object in these folder. Each object stored by buckets has three main components. Okay, what are those three main components? The first one is objects content data, objects metadata, which include object size, name, modification date, URL, and finally objects unique identifier. Okay, so that is the basic understanding of S3 bucket. Okay, so what we can do, we can create a new bucket. So here is, you can see there are different buckets already in my S3, but for this project I will create a new bucket. Okay, so let us create a new bucket. So create bucket. Okay, and bucket name, definitely I will choose a new bucket, or we can choose we can copy setting from existing bucket. So let us choose a new bucket. Okay, let us put a unique, what it is saying, bucket name must be unique within global namespace. Okay, and we need to follow the naming rule, and you can go through it, what are different rules. So I will create a bucket, let us put a new name, my loan data analysis AI and learn. Okay, and then object ownership, this I'll keep everything as it is. Bucket versioning, I'll just don't put everything as it is. Okay, okay, okay. So one thing I can tell you here, sometime if you want to keep your bucket accessible for others, so they unclick it, but time being I'm just putting this click option here. Okay, so let us create this bucket. Okay, okay, so let us change it to my. Okay, 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 then create bucket. Okay, So you can see here that we do have a new bucket. Okay, as I told that this bucket is for the data storage, and what AWS is going to do when we'll make code in SageMaker or other location, if you are putting object in S3 location, it will directly grab data from that S3 location. Okay, so we are not going to use our local computer. In this case, S3 is a place where it will grab file and it can write file. It can store file after all that analysis. Okay, so let us check this bucket. So at this moment, this S3 bucket is empty. Okay, so what we need to do? So as I told that, we'll use this S3 bucket for the data storage. And what data we need to store? We need to store our clean data. Okay, so we can upload our data. Sometime it is good practice to create a folder within this S3 bucket, but let us upload this directly. Add file, and we can open. Okay, so you can see that we have uploaded this in our S3 bucket. Okay, so now what we can do, we can just upload it by clicking this button. Okay, so you can see that this is in my S3 bucket. Okay, so bank clean, 4.9 MB, status succeed. So this S3 bucket part is over. Okay, so in next lecture we'll go in SageMaker. We'll utilize SageMaker, and then we'll start working towards our model.